to do a really nice practice where we're going to just start with a mudra. I always like to start with a mudra. Mudras are hand positions. Now you can sit however it is that you're comfortable. So if it's like this, you can sit like this. If you want to extend a leg out, you're welcome to extend a leg out. You can sit with both legs straight if that's what's comfortable for you. So make sure to honor your body, and if something feels uncomfortable, make a change. Change something in your body so that you can find more comfort. So the mudra I'd like to do today, it's called the Padma Mudra, and Padma means lotus. So it's really simple. You just bring the heels of the hands together, the length of the pinky finger and the length of the thumb together. So you've got kind of this bowl with the lower edge and heel of your hands coming together, while the other three fingers are extended and opening like a flower, like the lotus flower. So you can just let your elbows be heavy. You could even rest that in your lap if you'd like, or if it makes you feel more powerful to have it by the heart, then feel free to hold it by the heart. So it's whatever you feel best doing. That's the thing about yoga, is people are like, it's right or it's wrong, and it's neither right or wrong. The only way that it's wrong is if it hurts your body. So make sure to honor your body throughout this practice, and if something doesn't serve you, let it go, skip it. So, we're holding our Padma Mudra. Maybe you want to close your eyes or lower your gaze down. And when you do that, you're just kind of closing off your awareness to the world around you. And so by closing your eyes, we're starting to tune into the other senses rather than our vision sense. And if you just lower your gaze down to a specific spot on your yoga mat, perhaps a spot on the floor, you'll start to focus your gaze, focus your attention on that spot. And as we do that, let's start to consciously just breathe. Sometimes I'll just think to myself, breathe in and breathe out. And just start to bring ourselves into this moment. For a lot of us right now, we're starting to kind of jump back into our practice, jump back into some of our regular activities, and some of us are even trying something new. But know that every time that we leap, we land somewhere. Sometimes we land in a place where growth happens. Sometimes we land in a place where you can help others grow. Sometimes we land in a place where everything just hits you just right. But you always land, regardless of how uncertain the jump was, regardless of how weak your wings were, how scary it was to leap initially. And the truth is that the more you let go, the easier it is to fly. So, no matter how scared or unsure, jump, leap, the net will appear. Growth is there for you, and that's why I chose this Padma Mudra today. The flower grows and it starts to bloom, but we know that this flower has so many trials and tribulations to get through before it can bloom. The seed has to be planted. The conditions have to be just right for that seed to crack open, and that tiny little seedling to start creeping out of the seed, out of that shell, and start meandering and weaving its way through the soil and around stones and rocks. And those stones and rocks are challenges in its life, until eventually it breaks the surface. And then it simply blooms when it's ready. Consciously come back to your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's do it 3 more times. Breathing in to really feel your body fill up. And breathing out to feel your body settle into the earth. If you haven't already, go ahead and just release your hands and let your hands rest. Maybe open, maybe closed on your legs. And just notice any residual tension or feelings, new sensations in your hands and arms from holding that position for a couple moments. We're going to start to breathe and move, which is known as Vinyasa. The word Vinyasa literally means one breath, one movement, moving with breath. So just cup your hands out in front, maybe even open your fingers. I like to pretend like I'm kind of raking or combing the air. So as I inhale, I kind of scoop the air up towards the sky, and as I exhale, I float my hands back down so that we're rotating the arms. Inhaling, that's called supination. And exhaling, it's called pronation of the forearm, coming back down. We'll do it one more time. Let's go out to the side a couple times. So reach those arms out. Inhaling, we call it abduction. Exhaling, back down to the sides, we call it adduction. Yeah. Inhale, and like I'm looking at you 200 hours here. We have some yoga teacher trainees in here, so just some of these nice reminders. One more time. Inhaling out and perhaps up overhead, reaching. Exhaling, floating back down. Now keep in mind as you're working today, like if you reach up over your head and it hurts, you might go into the point until it hurts, back off a little bit, and go from that point. So that's what we're going to do next, is we're going to slide that right hand out and sweep the left hand up. Now if you start to get that catch or that spot that hurts, you stop before that and lean from that point. Now some of us can reach all the way over the head. So if you need to, the right hand can slide out or the right elbow can bend. Nice. Try to keep your left sit bone grounded. That's the hard part because we try to almost peel up to reach farther. Last breath. I know I'm holding it a while. Let's bring ourselves back up to center. Now take a pause. You might feel kind of lopsided. So let's do it on the other side. Left hand reaches out, right hand reaches up. Find any spots where you get stuck, and then start to bend the left elbow, even sliding that hand out if you need more space. Breathing. Right sit bone rooted. Last breath. And with an inhale, we'll fan it back up to center. Now, if you've been crisscrossed with me this whole time, you might take an opportunity to cross the other way. If your legs are straight, you might just keep them that way so that they're nice and balanced. Let's do it again to each side. Right hand slides out, left hand will do the reaching, but keep that left sit bone really rooted, really grounded. Reach away from the anchored root. Nice. Inhale, bring yourself back up to center, ground yourself. Exhaling, we'll inhale for the other side. Try to make that breath almost like this pattern that we can work with. Often you'll hear us say, let the breath be your guide. So with that inhale, fan yourself back up to center. Nice job. Now, we've done a lot of side to side, so let's do some forward and back. So let's extend our legs out in front. And even when we do this, I try not to have my feet connected like this. I want a little bit of space between my feet. Even wider is okay. But, so let's just sweep those arms out, maybe up to reach for the sky and extend through both sides of the ribs, and then start to fold, maybe rounding forward. You can reach for your knees or your shins or your ankles. Some people can reach their toes, but I wouldn't worry about that to begin. We'll start to bow the head down. The chin draws towards the chest as we reach the crown towards the toes. A couple more breaths here. Relax your shoulders if you can. Relax your jaw if you can. We don't always notice that tension we create. Inhale, last time, and we'll slide ourselves back up to center and sweep our hands back behind us. Now, as a beginner, we want to turn our fingers out and back. Squeeze those shoulder blades back. That's called retraction of the shoulder blades. So you're kind of opening your sternum. We'll start to look up. I can feel that meat between my shoulder blades by my spine. Nice job. Now let's do it again. Bring yourself to seated, sweep those hands up to the sky, exhale, forward fold. Remember, try not to compare yourself to me or anyone else here. We're always where we need to be in that body of ours. One more breath. Inhale and slide your hands up your legs, sweep them out to the side and slightly back behind you. Now, you're welcome to add on. I'm going to turn to the side so you can kind of see what this looks like, this shape. And I kind of did that earlier with my little crab walk. So what that is I'm going to measure with my knees. So my right leg is going to be my measure. My left knee is going to bend so that my heel lines up with my knee joint. Then I'm going to line up my right foot to meet that. Now try this with me, and if it doesn't feel good, don't have to try it again, of course. Squeeze those shoulders back, just like we did before. You can start to put some pressure on your hands. Now if that hurts your hands, that's where you're like, I'm not going to go too high. Because the higher you lift your hips up, the more pressure goes on your hands. So you've got to find the right level for you, and maybe that first version we did was better. So that means you can drop your hips down, lengthen the legs. This is the previous posture. Go ahead and drop your hips down. Bring yourself to seated. Sweep the arms out and up overhead. Last time, forward folding. Nice. So not only are we stretching our legs here, but you might start to feel it in your back and your ribs a little bit. I like to draw my chin to my chest and reach the very top of my head towards my toes. Inhale when you're ready and bring it all back to center. Nice job. I'm going to turn back forward here and bring the legs to Baddha Konasana. That means feet together, knees apart. It's like butterfly position here. All right. And we'll sit up nice and tall here. Grab onto mine are a little cold, my little cold toes, so I'm going to warm them up here. But you might also grab ankles or shins if you need. And we'll start to just soften the elbows. So we're trying to keep the spine as straight as we can and just leaning forward in the hips. That's where you're going to start to really feel that stretch in the inner thighs. Now, of course, this can be really intense for people. So if that's the case, keep breathing. You might even close your eyes. Remember that little seedling, that little lotus seed that's cracking through the shell. That's kind of like us right now. This is the discomfort of us, finding those stones that we have to work our way around. Finding that seed we have to break out of. And maybe even wiggling around a little bit. Rocking from side to side is always an option, because then we're visiting different muscles, different fibers of those muscles, and seeing where it is that we really are holding tension in our body, testing those limits. Nice work, everyone. Inhale when you're ready to push yourself back up to center. We'll do 1 or 2 stretches on each leg. We'll move into the upper body as well. So let's extend just our right leg. The left knee can stay out. But if that left knee is really lifted and it needs some support, then a block underneath or a pillow underneath the knee works really well. We want to rotate our chest towards the right foot. And you can either slide right down or take a big inhale to begin so that you can kind of drape yourself over that right leg. Reach for your toes or your ankle, your shin, your knee. I always prefer my ankle because then I'm not reaching with those shoulders, but instead just really focusing on the stretch in the back of the leg. A little bit of low back stretch too, especially when I tuck my chin to my chest. That flexion of the neck really lengthens the posterior chain of connective tissue. Great job. Bring it back to center. And we're just going to switch legs here. So just kick that left leg out, kind of wiggle out those knees if need be, and we'll rebend the right knee. It's known as Janu Shavasana. It means head to knee position. So if you'd like, you can slide down or reach up first. It's your choice. Folding over top that left leg. Again, you can reach as far down the leg as you'd like, but really the stretch happens in the fulcrum of the hips, allowing the pelvis, that angle in the pelvis to decrease. Don't forget your breath. That's the most important part while we're stretching, getting our blood oxygenated. Great job. Slide on up whenever you're ready. And we'll sweep those hands back for support, kicking out our right leg, and we'll do some window wipers with our toes at first. We'll make it a little bit bigger so that we can get some internal rotation of our hips, bending through our knees a little bit and just rocking through the knees as well. Nice.
Could we open a window?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Thank you. I just feel it's a little muggy.
There's a lot of humidity out there. I was noticing yesterday when I was teaching, I was like, woo, it feels like I'm in Thailand right now. Because I was teaching Thai massage. There might be a bar underneath as well. So, all right, so thanks for asking too. We're going to start to transition to hands and knees from here. So if you've got some water, take a sip on your way. And we're just going to rotate around, hands and knees here. I always use a blanket underneath my knees. If we need this one too, let me know and we'll get that one correct. Want to?
Yeah.
She's having a hot flash. I'm sure everyone here can understand that. There we go. All right. So we're going to meet up in tabletop position here. Hands and knees. Fingers are going to be spread here on the yoga mat. If that hurts your wrists, of course, maybe try switching to fists for a couple moments and back to the palms. The thing is that over time we really want palms flat to become comfortable for us. And at first, it's not very comfortable because we're not used to that deep extension of the wrist. But over time, it gets easier. I promise. It does. With an inhale, let's drop to cow pose. That means the belly falls through and we look forward. There, and then we're going to round the back. You might exhale for that. And when you're ready, you can inhale again and drop the belly and look forward. We get so much information about your body and how your back is feeling just by watching how your spine undulates in this posture, watching how the pelvis tilts, watching how the shoulder blades rise and fall from the spine and away from the spine. Nice work. Let's do one more. Nice job. Now we'll take the weight off of our hands here, and that means either puppy pose, a child's pose. Some people don't have that flexion in the knees, so sometimes that's kind of halfway between, which is an extended cat pose. So you might try all three and see which works best for you. Puppy pose is hips still lifted in tabletop, but the heart mouth down, kind of like a playful puppy. Child's pose is hips on heels all the way, belly resting on or through the thighs. Separate the knees if you need more room. And cat pose, extended cat, is kind of halfway between both puppy and child's. Find a version that works for you. The only way that yoga is wrong is if it hurts. Nice work, everyone. Now, this is a resting pose, so at any time during our flow, you are welcome to rest like this if you want to, if it's okay for your knees. Some people will just kind of flatten themselves on their belly, too, so that works, too. So let's peel ourselves up to center, tabletop. These are going to be some core pelvic floor stabilizations here. So let's start with the legs. We're going to kick our right leg out back behind us. I like to look down in between where my hands are placed so that I'm not necessarily looking forward, I'm looking straight down. My neck isn't crunching. Now my butt is starting to burn back there on the right side. So I'm going to flex my toes like I'm kicking a door shut, and I'm going to raise my heel 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now it's really burning, so I'm going to drop it down. And if you need a little break between sides, you can come back to your child's or puppy pose. And of course, what we do on one side, we're going to do on the other. Raise up when you're ready. Look down between your hands and kick that door shut behind you with the left foot. And so, I'm just gazing for a breath or two, feeling that burn, and when you're ready, add your 5 pulses, lifting the left heel to the sky. 2, 3, 4, 5. Dropping that left knee down, and again, if you need that break, child's pose to kind of stretch those glutes out that you just strengthened up. Nice. Inhaling back to center, tabletop position. We're going to add the arm in too, so let's kick our right leg back. If you're feeling unbalanced, feel free to drop your toe to the floor. Left hand is going to slide forward, maybe even it lifts off the ground so that you're extending that tabletop out in front and behind. Last breath, drop it down. Let's try the other side. Kick the door shut with your left foot. You can keep your toes grounded. Right hand might slide forward if you want the extra challenge, lifting the right hand. Extending that tabletop. I'm still gazing down on my mat. Last breath. Let's drop it down. Nice work. And let's child's pose for a moment. Everything is getting nice and warmed up, that's for sure. And you were already warm. Rocking a little bit from side to side if that feels good through your hips. I'm just kind of moving the weight of my torso towards my left thigh and then towards my right thigh. Back and forth, just shifting. The wider the knees, the more friendly that will be. Great job, everybody. All right, let's start to roll back up to our tabletop position. I'm going to kick my right leg back out behind me, but only so that I can swing it around into a lunge. However the heck you want to get it there. It doesn't have to be pretty, we're just going to swing it into a lunge, a low lunge. And a low lunge means that our back knee stays on the floor. So from here you can start to press yourself up away from the mat onto that right knee maybe. And if you want the extra challenge, maybe the hands come to the heart, because then it's like, I don't need my hands to hold me, it's my core that's holding me here. And still even more challenge would be sweeping the hands out or even up overhead. Some people's look like this, especially if there's a catch in the shoulders. So any angle is good. Big inhale. Exhale and take that lunge one little step further. Drop the hands down by that right foot. Left hand into the mat. Right hand reaches out and maybe up. So here in the studio, you'll be gazing out towards the windows, maybe even up towards that right thumb. Nice job. Big breath in, open that chest. Exhale, bring it back down and bring the right hand to the inside of the right foot. I'm going to heel toe my right foot out to this outer line of my mat, the right side of my mat. I'm also going to turn my toes out slightly. Now here's a trick of the trade. I'm going to start to draw my left pelvis or hip forward, but I can't get as far down as I want to. So I'm going to tuck my left toe and slide my left knee back 1 inch. And oh mama, you can feel it then. If you do have some blocks handy, you could always use that for your elbows, because this is a lot of flexion, a lot of pressure on those wrists. Now we're just trying to sink that left hip down. It's called lizard pose. You look like a lizard. Nice job. Now however you can, you got to kind of hoist your weight back through your hips and somehow beautifully swing the right leg back. Let's take a break, child's pose. And you can feel a big difference now between the hips. Do you feel that? So I feel heat. It's known as tapas in the front of the left thigh. Right in that hip flexor that was really stretching out. And you know what I'm going to make you do. So take that break. Take it as long as you need, because we're going to do all of that on the other side next. I know. Let's roll up when you're ready. If you're not ready, don't join me yet. I'm going to lift my left leg back behind me and swing it around town as beautifully as I can. It's flawless. It comes with time, I'll say that. Set yourself up nicely here, get things arranged how you like, and then start to press up to the top of that left knee. I start to gaze forward. We have a lot of beautiful things to look at up here, so any one of these could be just a really nice focal point. A big inhale, hands to the heart, or even higher if you want. Exhale to lunge a little deeper. Let's hold it for one more breath. Whichever mudra you're choosing to do, you could even come back to your Lotus if you wanted to. Exhaling, the hands come down, frame the foot. It's right hand to the floor this time, left hand reaches out, up to the sky, maybe even looking at your left hand. You might be able to even look into that mirror here in studio and see your beautiful alignment. One more breath. Exhale, bring the hand down, bring it to the inside of your left foot. That also means that that left foot's going to heel toe out, and I kind of rotate my toes out to a 45 as well. I'm going to slide my right knee back just 1 inch. Oh yeah, I feel it now. Some people are flexible enough to get down onto an elbow, especially if it's starting to feel like a lot in the wrists. But at any time, if you're just like, I don't like this and I don't want to do it anymore, then don't. You can go back to child's pose at any time, and that's what I'm about to do. I push back up to my hands, I take my hips back, and swing that left leg around back to tabletop so I can take a quick breather in child's pose and feel that tapas, that heat now, in the front of the right hip flexor. Take all the weight off the hands if you can, so that there's no pressure on those wrists anymore. You might even roll them out a couple times. Great job. Again, maybe try that little rock from side to side where your upper body, your torso, just kind of slides to the right, slides to the left, and see if there's a difference. Even just a couple minutes past where we were when we checked in last time. Great job, everyone. Healing up last time to the tabletop position. Bringing those knees into alignment if need be. We won't spend a lot of time in a down dog just because we've had a lot of pressure already on the wrist today. Tucking those toes. We're just going to lift up off the knees, push up through those hands 1 or 2 moments. Maybe longer if you really like it. But when you're ready, look towards your hands and start to walk forward. It might be that you need to walk your hands back to meet your feet instead of walking forward just with your feet. So a combination is really good. We just gotta somehow get our hands and feet a bit closer together so that we can hang like a rag doll, like forward fold rag doll. Let your head go. Let your arms just dangle. Let your knees be soft. And if it's difficult to bend your knees and have that be comfortable, then separate your feet even wider. They can be as wide as the mat if you want to. I'm going to start to rock to the left and to the right so that it's almost like my hands, my knuckles are dragging on the floor and I'm just rocking from side to side. It could be like an elephant trunk, your arms. You're just swinging from side to side. Softening the knees as you go. Awesome. Slowly, like a pendulum, just coming back to center. Soften your knees even deeper. Sweep your arms out like a bird and start to press up. Roll up nice and slow so that you don't get dizzy. And once you do, you can reach up to the sky and grab some good energy and bring it right down into your heart. Nice. I always rearrange my body here and kind of step my feet together and get any hair out of my mouth or anything like that. Reset my shoulders. Might do a couple shoulder rolls back just to see, check in how they're feeling today. They're still crunchy. Yep, we're twins. Mm-hmm. All of us.
Our crunches are communicating, maybe.
Will going forward. Oh, that so describes it.
Yeah, it's crunchy crunch, for sure. All right, so we're going to practice one Sun Salutation. It's our slow Sun Salutation. So that way we can stretch out our hamstrings and do some rotations in those forward folds. So for now, let's bring the hands to the heart. And you might even open those 3 fingers and get back into that lotus. Pull that light right down into that flower at your heart. And imagine that energy really being pulled into the cells of your body, just like a flower would take that photosynthesis light in and use it as energy. Inhale right here. Exhale, hands come together as we drop them down to the sides. Inhale again, up to the light. Hands might touch, and then we're going to separate them. Swan dive is what this is called. I bend my knees a lot to forward fold, because if it hurts my back or my legs at all, then I want to make sure to honor that. And any time that you bend your knees, you're going to honor your body. Now let's work our hamstrings. What I'm going to do is just straighten my right leg, and I feel that stretch behind the right knee, but my left knee is still bent. And then I'm going to bend my right knee so that both knees are bent. And then I'm just going to straighten my left leg so that I feel the stretch just behind my left knee, but my right knee is still bent. And then I'll bend both knees. We're going to add the breath. Inhale, the right leg goes straighten, or as close as you can. Exhale, bend both knees. Inhale, the left leg lengthens. And exhale to bend both knees. Let's do it again on each side. Right leg, stretch those hammies. Exhale, bend both knees. Last time on the left. Exhale, bend both knees. Now let's lift halfway as a nice intermission. We'll try some twists in that forward fold next. So that means the hands are going to slide up to the shins. We kind of push on that area to lengthen the elbows, but I'm not really pushing. My hands can lift from my shins very easily. And then my back is lifting up like a flat tabletop. If you can see me, I look like a figure 7. So that's what I want to resemble, is like figure 7. One more breath, I draw the belly in, and then as I exhale, I'm going to refold into that forward fold. If you need more room to fold, you can separate your feet or raise the ground up to your hands by using blocks. So now we're going to straighten that right leg and the left knee is bent. Connect your left fingers to a block or to the floor and sweep your right hand out. Here in studio, it'll be towards the windows. You can start to feel that stretch go into the outside of your right thigh. So it's now not just the back of the hamstrings, but the outer hamstrings too. Go ahead and release down, back to that forward fold. Let's try the other side. The right fingertips connect, right knee stays bent, left leg lengthens as we sweep the left hand out and up. Now you might be able to feel that stretch on the back and the outside of your left thigh, kind of the outside of your butt too. That's where I feel it. One more breath. Release when you're ready. Nice job. Lift halfway. Once again, figure 7. Shoulders away from your ears here. It's kind of like someone's pulling on your head, someone else is pulling back on your hips. Last breath, suck it in a little bit. And then exhale, bend through your knees. Get your hands to the mat. We're going to step back to downward facing dog. So I walk my feet back a couple steps towards the back of the mat. I do want my feet to stay separated. So if your big toes go to touching, put a couple inches between your feet. Your knees can stay bent. Press your left heel down and bend your right knee. Then press your right heel down and bend your left knee. We pedal our heels. We call that walking the dog. Still a lot of pressure on the hands though, so just get one more round in there. And then beginners, feel free to drop to your knees at any time. I like to roll forward like I'm going to do a push-up first, and then I drop to my knees, because I'm trying to get my arms really strong. That's just kind of one of my goals right now. So from here, I'm going to bend my elbows, and I don't want them to bend out. That's like, military push-up kind of. We want them to bend back and lower the thighs and the belly and the chest. Eventually, we'll get our triceps really strong. Point those toes back and drop the tops of the toes, tops of the feet onto the floor. I'm still squeezing my elbows back. I'm going to start to look forward. Just this right here is called Sphinx Pose. If you want to go higher, you can push into the mat, and that's called Cobra Pose. I don't want to go higher because I'm not warmed up enough, but if you are, you can straighten your arms anytime. We'll lower back down. We're going to add a grasshopper in here, and that's just different arms. So what I'm going to do is fingertips, tent my fingertips, and lift my elbows up. Yeah, so if you're like, ooh, that doesn't, you might do this a couple times just to rotate those shoulders. And some of us will be like, ooh, it clicks every time, you know?
Does that mean we win?
You win!
Yay!
No, you might have a tendon that's popping out or something like that. Or a little adhesion in a tendon. So find a comfy spot with elbows lifted. And if you're like, this is not comfy at all, well, pretend for a moment. Look forward, and we're going to try to peel the heart up. Even pressure into the fingertips if you want to. My back's not too warm yet, so I can't go too high. And we'll lower back down when you're ready, drawing those hands back into our sides. And we're going to peel back up to our favorite child's pose or puppy pose. Remember, if knees being flexed like this does not feel good, then keep those hips lifted in more of that puppy pose or melting heart pose. Come back to the breath. Breathe in deep and breathe out deep. Notice how your body moves as you breathe, how your belly pushes into your thighs, your back expands. And we'll start to roll back up to our tabletop when you are ready. You don't ever have to be ready though. You can stay in child's pose as long as you want. Tuck those toes and roll up to that downward facing dog. Again, we're not going to stay too long. We're just going to pedal it out a couple times. Looking at our toes here. Look from your toes to your hands and start to walk your toes forward. I take about 2 steps and then I have to walk my hands back to my feet. So don't worry about being able to take those big steps forward. No worries. We just find our way to a forward fold somehow. Let's lift halfway. This is a spinal reset. It's that figure 7. So I imagine that my spine is being pulled out in both directions. One more breath, shoulders down. Exhale, bend through those knees, kind of like a rag doll, but we won't stay too long. Sweep the arms out like a bird. When you're ready to inhale to rise, start to push through the feet. Slowly, slowly, so you don't get dizzy. We'll reach to the sky. Exhale to the heart. Great work. All right, so earlier we did some low lunges. That means the back knee is on the floor. We've been practicing some high lunges too, so we're going to do that today. We've been practicing this sequence from an assisted warrior 3 into a high lunge. And so if you're like, I don't know what that means, I'm going to teach you. So a high lunge is also known as warrior 1. So I'm going to teach you the difference right now between warrior 3 and warrior 1. You can do it with me or you can just watch. So I'm going to ground my right foot, slide my left foot back, bring my hands to my heart because I like to know my center, and try to lift my left foot. Warrior 3. Now traditionally it looks like this, but this is not a beginner position. This is an advanced position. So we're just going to hover. We're just going to hover, and we'll get there over time. Warrior 3, bend your right knee and step back as far as you can. It's Warrior 1. But Warrior 1 has hips straight forward. So does Warrior 3. Now Warrior 2 looks like this. But we're not going to do Warrior, you can do it right now with me if you want to. Warrior 2. Nice. Let's go back to Warrior 1. My back heel, that's my left heel, is going to flip up and my chest rotates forward. Warrior 1. And if you'd like to, you can try with me to hop up onto that front right foot. I have to step in halfway first, and then I might lift that foot. Yeah, that's Warrior 3, just like that with that foot lifted. Nice. We're going to do the other side too. That's a nice fast routine that I didn't intend. But we're going to do it again so that both sides are balanced. So let's practice Warrior 3. I bring my hands to the heart. Now it's my left foot that's going to ground. My right foot will slide back. This is warrior 3 too. It's assisted by the toes. The challenge is lifting the foot. And that's where your glute engages. And remember earlier we did all those lifts back? That's why we did that, to get this strong. Bend your standing knee, step that foot back as far as you can. Warrior 1. Yeah, so warrior 1 is hips straight forward.
On that side. Yeah.
One side's kind of like, whoa. Now warrior 2, watch my back right heel. It flips down. And my heels come together in a line on the mat. And that's warrior 2. So just gotta teach, eventually we'll know. Oh yeah, warrior 1's like this. Warrior 2's like this. And it's just repetition of doing it. So let's rotate back to warrior 1. That's going to be towards the front of your mat. The heel might lift. This is also warrior 1.
I have a hard time turning my
I
heel
don't like
in
that.
with keeping my hips square. It feels
It rotates the
wonky.
knee too much for me too, so I always cue like with heel up. And now, let's hoist up onto that left foot. I have to step in halfway first for balance. If you've got a little counter next to you, you might hold on to that and try to lift your foot back there. Nice job. We'll hop it down. Now, this time, we'll make it easier. Because that was kind of hard. We're only going to do warrior 3 to warrior 1. And so let's go back to the right leg, and we're going to do an assisted version of that. So what that means is we're going to get our fingertips to the ground. So let's take a big inhale up. I almost said uphail. Uphail, downhail.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a new twist.
We'll lift halfway for that flat back. New terms, new yogic terms. And then bend through the knees to get your fingertips to the floor or onto blocks. Blocks work so good for this. Right foot. That's the one that's going to stay grounded. Left foot is going to slide back. My toes stay on the floor at first, but then I lift my left foot up and into the air. So I'm balancing on my right foot and my left, or all 10 fingertips. Yeah. Left foot's lifted back. I'm going to bend my right knee and step as far back with that left heel as I can. Left foot, I should say, because my heel does not come down. From here, you can just look forward, or you can start to make your way up into that high lunge. Warrior 1. This is high lunge. 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 The legs don't really change. It's just the mudra that changes. Inhale, energy rises. Exhale, energy drops. Inhale. Exhale, hands come down, frame that foot, because we need to get out of this pose and step our left foot forward. The legs are burning. If you'd like, you can do a nice sweep, a nice reverse swan dive all the way to standing, get some length. We're going to go right into the other side. Exhale, soften those knees, hips back, heart forward, left hand, as well as left fingertips and right fingertips are going to be on the ground. And then it's going to be right foot slides back and into the air. That's an assisted warrior 3. You're assisting by your fingertips being grounded. Bend your left knee and step your right foot back as far as you can. Heel can stay lifted there. Your legs are in a high lunge. This is a high lunge. This is a high lunge. So's this, and so's this. You choose where you want your arms to be. The legs are going to get continuously more burny and shaky because they're building muscle. Nice work. One more breath. Let's reach up with the crown. Exhale, down with the tailbone. Inhale. Exhale, frame that foot. They're rocking out. And we'll step our right foot forward next to our left. Oh, it's a beautiful day. Everyone's getting out on their motorcycles. Let's lift halfway, flat back. And we're going to exhale to bend through our knees. Bend them a lot. Keep those knees bent. Sweep the arms out like a bird. Push through the feet. And as you rise to standing, you can lengthen the legs. Reach the hands up and we'll exhale, heart center. You did it.
Yay.
Good job. That's hard work. As beginners, we're like learning all these things, and the only way that we're gonna have it stick in our head is if we do it again and again and again. So that's why I make you do it again and again. So let's start to get down onto the ground. We'll start to cool down and slow down a little bit. So however you want to get there, I'm going to take my blanket and make it into a pillow. And then safely come down onto the mat. I used to get down all funky and weird, and now I'm like, okay, you gotta get down safe so you don't hurt your knees and stuff on the way. Alright, and we'll start to roll back. I do it as slowly as I can through the sacrum, through the lumbar, through the ribs, and then my head rests back. Letting the arms rest off to the side of your mat so that maybe your knuckles are on the wood or on the carpet if you're at home. The knuckles are grounded so that the fingers are curled and relaxed. Try to let your shoulders just drop back onto your yoga mat. My knees are still bent and my feet are flat. You might already be in your Shavasana, so feel free to omit anything that I say if it doesn't apply to you. But I'm just starting to rock my knees once again, remembering back to those window wipers that we did quite a while ago, just rocking the knees. And as I rock the knees, one side of the pelvis lifts and then the other lifts. And it's a nice low back and waist stretch. You're welcome to continuously move if movement is what you need today. But I always like to offer some time for stillness here at the end of our session so that your body and your nervous system can really start to take in all the work we've done. So the legs have many options here. You can keep the knees bent with the feet flat, and you could drop your knees in together, kind of like knocking your knees. Another option you could do is feet together, knees apart. And we did do that earlier, that Baddha Konasana, butterfly legs. But that is going to be a stretch. It's considered a yin stretch as we hold that for maybe a couple moments, a couple minutes even, and allow that fascia to stretch. But if you're not wanting to feel a stretch, then perhaps the best option will just be to lay in Shavasana. And that means the legs extend out down towards the bottom edges of your mat. Let the feet be heavy. Let the calves be heavy. Let the hips rest heavy on the mat. The back of the head simply just resting. For many of us, laying still can be so difficult, the most challenging part. So use your mind and visualize right in the center of your heart, growing out of your chest, that lotus, opening its petals to the light, every breath feeding it oxygen. Imagine the life of that lotus, a simple seed, the planting, the germination, the cracking of that seed. Reaching through soil, grit, stone, rocks, challenges, all the way through layers of soil and stone and silt. Wrapping around those stones and pebbles and anchoring yourself. Eventually reaching the crown or the crust of that soil. Reaching towards the light. When it's ready, it simply opens. But the mud is not forgotten. The lotus never forgets the mud that it had to go through. No mud, no lotus. Every time we leap, we land somewhere. Sometimes it's in a place of growth. Sometimes it's where we help others grow. But no matter how scary that jump is, how unsure we are of our wings, when we leap, we will land. Take 3 more of the deepest breaths that you have taken all day. You're welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you like. Begin to bring small movements back into your extremities, your feet, your toes, if you're ready to move. Your hands, fingers, ankles, and wrists. Maybe start to bend the elbows and bend the knees. Let's add a full body stretch, a good morning stretch, by reaching the hands up and pointing the toes down past the end of your mat in both directions, reaching, hands high, feet low, extending. Beautiful. You're welcome to stay on your back as long as you'd like. If you'd like to roll to a side, that's a perfect option, whichever side would be suitable for you. Some will just roll right up to a seat when they're ready. The Choice is yours. It doesn't matter to me. It's up to you. I always like to end right where I began, right in my seated position, just so that I can recall 1 hour ago and how I was feeling then. Physically and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all facets. And how that may have changed in 1 hour. How you have blossomed here at the end. Remember back, no mud, no lotus. Without all of that work that we put in, we wouldn't have this feeling that we feel right now. So take a moment and thank your body. It is powerful and capable and strong and gaining flexibility and more strength. Thank your breath for being your guide. I thank you for allowing me to be your guide today. I bow to each one of you. Thank you so much for being here, for pressing play, for showing up and rolling out the mat with me today. In yoga, we say the word namaste, and it means the supreme sweetness and divine light inside of each one of you honors and acknowledges that same light, the same one that's inside of me. We're one in this moment. Thank you for being here today. Namaste. And shukriya. Great job. Hope you feel a little better, a little looser.
That was great.
That was
Thank you.
fantastic class.
It was.